Welcome back to another episode of Rejected Movie Ideas, the show that takes justifiably abandoned 2-hour-long movie ideas and squishes them into 3 minutes of snarky commentary. This week we take a look at the mostly misguided yet well-intended movie that would have been James Cameron's Spider-Man. That's right, well before the king of the box office and self-proclaimed king of the world committed himself to a lifetime of producing Avatar sequels, he had his ambitious eyes set on Nerdum's favorite and only web-slinger. Close your eyes and take a trip back with me to the early 1990s, a simpler time when Kardashians weren't allowed to be on TV and meeting people required a lot more skill than simply swiping right. This was also a time well before Marvel's superhero domination of the box office. If anything, things were quite the opposite for Marvel, as declining sales in the comic book industry was forcing the company to file for bankruptcy. With very few options on the table, Marvel executives did what they know how to do best: whore out. And whore out they did, selling off most of their movie rights. Fox took the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, Lionsgate bought The Punisher, and for some ungodly reason, Sony spent actual American dollars on the rights to Ghost Rider. Meanwhile, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man was left in the auteurish hands of the art house powerhouse that was Kuroko Pictures. You know, the geniuses behind Cutthroat Island and Showgirls. It was Kuroko who wanted James Cameron to direct their Spider-Man movie after Terminator 2 made them all the money 1991 had to offer. And that's where the beauty of Cameron's scriptment for Spidey comes in. Now, let's remember, unlike now, there wasn't much of a template back then on how to make a successful superhero movie. With the exception of Superman and Batman, superhero movies were almost a guaranteed flop. So let's not blame Cameron for missing the mark with his script. Let's just, make fun of him a bit. According to the 1993 script, Cameron's Spider-Man would have unfortunately not starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, but would have focused on the hero's teen years in a normal origin story, as you do. It's when Peter Parker gets bitten by that radioactive spider that the crazy train really leaves the station. The next day, tight on Peter as he wakes up. He opens his eyes cautiously, not knowing what to expect. Something is causing the sheets to stick to him. He lifts them, revealing a sticky, white mass completely covering him, gluing him to his bedding. Yeah, that's right, Cameron somehow managed to merge the most awkward part about being a teenager with the ickiest detail about Spider-Man's powers into a scene depicting what sounds like a superpowered wet dream. Fast forward through your run-of-the-mill discovering my powers montage, and you get to that scene where Spidey finally gets to impress Mary Jane Watson by saving her from a group of thugs. Yeah, you guys remember that scene in the original Sam Raimi movie, right? You know, Tobey Maguire rescues Kirsten Dunst from a pack of a-holes, and then he goes for that iconic upside-down kiss. Yeah, that's what this movie needs, a bit of ass-kicking for the guys in the crowd, a little bit of romance for the ladies. But here's what Cameron wrote instead. Suddenly, Spider-Man is there. He trounces the attackers and webs them up. If you worthless chunks of vomit show your faces around here again, I'll decorate my Christmas tree with your intestines. Got it? Now, if for some reason moms didn't drag their children out of the theater after hearing Spider-Man paint that blood-soaked word picture, the kiddies would have been treated to the most awkward BDSM sex scene in a superhero movie, and I'm including the deleted scenes between Batman and Bane. As they are perched on top of the Brooklyn Bridge, Spider-Man soothes Mary Jane before making his move. Courtship among the spiders is highly ritualized. It varies from species to species. The male spider may circle the female or wave his front legs to signal that he is not prey. And yes, Spider-Man is dancing as he says what could easily be construed as a serial killer's spine-chilling attempt at getting a girl's number. I'm surprised he didn't start talking about Huey Lewis in the news. In certain crab spiders, the male will attach strands of silk to the female, tying her limbs. With James Cameron's uncanny ability to predict what the movie-going audience truly wants, Spider-Man then proceeds to use his web to tie Mary Jane to the Brooklyn Bridge as he continues to court her/terrorize the audience. At this point, Mary Jane finally dares to utter a word to her demented superpowered suitor. The male must be very bold to take such liberties with the predatory female. Damn it, Mary Jane, don't encourage this psycho! Did you hear what he can do with your intestines? Now, it doesn't take long before the antics of these two kinky teenagers gets them in trouble with the movie's Electro-like villain, who kidnaps Mary Jane and uses his high-voltage kissing powers to smooch her into a coma. Now, had we been watching Sam Raimi's or even Mark Webb's version of Spider-Man, right about here's where Spidey would say some witty quip before unleashing a barrage of web attacks to his mortal enemy. But nope, that's not how James Cameron rolls. As he sees Mary Jane's unconscious body in the arms of his foe, Spider-Man screams before launching into an attack. I'll kill you, motherfucker! You hear me? You're dead, you sick bastard! Now, as you can imagine, an epic fight scene ensues, culminating in Spider-Man's foe falls from the South Tower of the World Trade Center to a bloody death on the streets of Lower Manhattan. Not too sure if Disney would still be interested in owning this franchise if Cameron had gotten his way with this bloodthirsty, bondage-loving, foul-mouthed, not-so-friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Unluckily for our morbid curiosity, but luckily for parents who don't want to explain what a wet web dream is, Kuroko went bankrupt and were forced to sell the film rights to whoever would take them. Sony bought the rights, laughed their asses off at the script, and went in a completely different direction with the franchise. And we, the audience, were rewarded with 5 badass Spidey movies that didn't disappoint a single... Oh, no, wait, most of them still sucked.